This is FCTV, Fan Controlled Television. Programs created and produced for the fans, by the fans of Fan Controlled Sports and Entertainment. As always, power to the fans. And now, it's time for the show.
Oh, no. You don't know what
what's
you just
up?
did to yourself.
Oh, man. I just wanted to do something fun. Be like, whip, what's up?
Oh, I didn't know we were doing a whip. You got to tell me those things.
Well, next time. Next week, we'll whip and then we'll nay-nay. So that people can literally watch us whip and then watch us nay-nay. Watch me whip.
Whip.
Watch me nay-nay. The kids are still whipping and nay-naying. I got to tell you. I teach.
Back around now.
I love how, like, 1 minute in, the Beetle Goblin writes, "What is this?" I'll tell you what this is. This is Fan Controlled Fandom. We are on the Fan Controlled Sports and Entertainment Network, but we are not talking sports. We are talking the cape space. We're talking about any content where people wear capes. Hi, I'm Kenny Stevenson.
And I'm Alex Enriquez, and I'm not wearing a cape, but boy, I wish I could.
But you know who definitely wears a cape? Magneto.
Magneto.
And we are going to be talking about... Oh, yeah! See you later, guy! Beetle Goblin says, yeah, I'm out. All right, bye.
That's cool.
Fine by me.
You know what? I love living in a world where people can have opinions.
What happened to football? Football's still a sport. Like, nothing has happened to football. Fan-controlled football is coming back potentially in 2025. Fan-controlled racing, very much a thing, happening, I believe, next weekend. They've already voted on a driver. They voted on a car. There's designs. There's going to be actual fans who are in the control app, who are actually who do well in the control app. Their faces are going to be on a NASCAR because it's fan-controlled sports and entertainment, and we are entertainment.
And let me tell you what, once they get into open wheel racing, that's when Daddy will really get his ass involved. Cause I that's a hard line for me. I'm a big race fan, but it's gotta be something that I can't see out on the streets. My philosophy, cool car go fast. That's what I like to watch. Cool car go fast.
Cool car go fast. I got to tell you, I don't want to spoil your news, but I know who won the Japan Grand Prix or whatever, the Formula One race in Japan. I know who won, but I'm not going to tell you.
Do you now? Well, no,
because it's on the ticker. It's on the ticker it was on the ticker on ESPN. So anyway, I saw that Max Verstappen. I think you had mentioned that. Anyway, what is this? It's again the cape space. We're talking about superheroes, Star Wars, Game of House of the Dragons comes back in like a month and a half. We're going to be able to dive deep on some incest. But we're talking about X-Men 97. We keep talking to each other every week about, like, should we talk about something else? And then X-Men 97 drops, I don't know, one of the greatest pieces of Disney Plus Marvel content ever?
Yeah. Like, each week, X-Men shows up and makes it the only thing that should be talked about. Like,
and Bad Batch was pretty solid too. But Bad Batch was
coming in solid.
Very table setting this week. That's why we're not talking about it. Very table setting, but we're definitely setting that table for what's going to be an exciting thing. Before we get started, I told Alex before that I am officially a robot. I have this thing here that I'm wearing around my neck. I went and had an endoscopy yesterday, and I'm doing what's called a Bravo test. They put basically like a sensor in my esophagus to measure my levels of stomach acid and acid reflux. I had to go off all acid reducers. They put this thing in me yesterday, and then I have to wear this device, and I have to like mark whenever I'm eating, or I have to mark whenever I'm having any symptoms. So during the course of this, if I have tightness in my chest, any regurgitation or heartburn, I just go down here and I type this button, and that's what I'm doing. You'll hear a little beep, and that's what that is. But I'm officially like I'm a full blown. I'm a cyborg, baby.
You're a cyborg, dude. Yeah.
I'm pretty happy about it.
I love it. The future is now, and if we could get this GERD or whatever it is under control finally, because it's something that dogs you, and it's one of those weird things, American medicine, huh? Hey, before we can make you better, go off all the medicine and feel worse, but let us watch you while you feel worse, so we know how.
I'm about 24 hours away from when I can actually go back on my my Protonics and start and get some Tums and get that going. Currently cannot do any of it, and it's very fun. But you know what?
You know who the real hero is? It's you, Kenny. That's forget this Superman Batman bullshit. You've got the box on your chest. You've got the camera up your butt, or however they did this thing, and
other hole. The top hole.
Oh,
they went top down, not bottom up. Not bottom up. I did it. I've already had a colonoscopy. Colonoscopy was something you got to do, which is going to be coming around the corner for you, sir. The next couple of years, 45 now. It used to be 50, now it's 45. You got to go up your beehole, and it's
not me, man. It's not going to happen.
I'll tell you what. I know that people didn't tune in for colonoscopy talk, but I highly recommend. It's the thing to do because it is one of the only things that exists in modern medicine that is a proactive way to fight cancer. So they can actually go, that's what they're doing. They're going into your colon and looking for polyps, because polyps can then grow into cancer. It's the only thing you can do. And the dogs get it too. The dogs are like, Alex, you're going to get your colonoscopy. That's just happening. But before I love this. People are getting is Guga still happened? Yeah. You let the fans control it, Kenny. Yeah.
You go up my colon, you see a lot of Guga.
That's true. Well, Freddie, it's still called Nonstop Guga because Jess, who normally creates our banners, the name of the show is actually X-Men Ain't Effin' Around this week. But she has a book fair at her child's school, so she'll be here eventually to fix that. So we have last week's show name on there, and that's just what's happening. But we gotta get. This is like 7 minutes in. We haven't even started quick hits, and I have a hard out. So maybe we should do the quick pieces of nerd news and play that stinger, baby. Quick hits.
The first piece of nerd news this week: Kenny's a cyborg, and camera in his butt, and that's
again top hole. We went through the top hole, not the bottom hole. So
right. I got to make a note of that.
I just want to get this out of the way. There was a Joker 2 trailer that dropped. This is a trailer that was reminiscent of the first trailer, in which I watched this trailer and I was like, I don't know, that looks kind of good. That's my takeaway. I don't think it's going. I'm still going to have a problem with it. And I still overall have a problem with it. But there was some imagery in it that I was like, maybe.
I make it a point not to watch trailers for things I have no intention of actually seeing, so I just have avoided it. I don't care. Like, whatever. It's not. Hey, you know what? I didn't read Joker comics all those years. I read Batman comics.
Yeah, man, that's the thing. Sorry, hold on. I got to tell someone that I'm on a call. Yeah.
Log your GERD.
I'm not saying that like I'm gonna watch or enjoy this film. I'm just saying I saw the trailer and I was very much like, I mean, I don't know. I definitely wasn't like I hate this, but this is what happened though. This is what really sealed the deal for me as to why I'm more back in the like, I'm squarely in the like, this is incel propaganda. Somebody posted on Threads like, there's like this closing shot of the trailer, and it's like it's clearly Harley Quinn, Gaga talking to Joaquin, and through like over like I know Gaga and Guga, Gaga has made it into the Guga. There's like a window, and she takes a thing of lipstick and like draws a smile on the glass. And then Joaquin Phoenix like moves his mouth over to it and then smiles. And some freaking yokel on Threads wrote like, whoever came up with this shot is a genius. And I was like, come on. It's the same guy who wrote The Hangover. So like, that's who came up with that shot. Lady Guga. Also, well done. Well done, Freddie Airman.
Lady Guga. Special
I don't want to give this too much air. Like that was that was it. I just wanted to mention that was a thing that happened in the Cape Space. So let's just move on.
Go find. Okay? Let's everybody out there, if you can find. I'm not saying to dox or brigade anybody, but if you can find that yokel who's like, whoever came up with this shot is a genius. Just thread at them. Read a book, dude.
Read a book. Talk to a woman. Because you're obviously a straight man. I like talk to a member of the opposite sex and get their opinion about life first.
In a non-transactional way, in a way that you're not trying to put ducats in the romance bucket.
Yeah, so I just wanted to get that off the plate. Another big thing, like the other big thing happening in the fandom space this week is CinemaCon. If you don't know what CinemaCon is, it's basically like a convention for people who own theaters.
It's an exhibitors convention.
It's exhibitors convention, and all the studios come and say basically like, here's what's coming out this year, coming to your theater if you want to have it. And the news, so basically the news coming out of CinemaCon is always like, everyone's seen footage of everything. Like that's the news. I don't want to call out. I called out a couple of specific things, but the news is always like the footage from blank movie looks awesome. Like that's all. There's no very rare that CinemaCon is like, oh, we saw footage from Endgame and it sucked. It's always like everything's great.
They showed us a bunch of stuff we saw and it was awful.
And like never. So like the one specific ones that I'm calling out are Captain America: Brave New World. They apparently brought Anthony Mackie out on stage. They showed some footage, some of the footage breakdown. Oh, there's another thing that Kevin Feige officially confirmed that the title of Thunderbolts is Thunderbolts with an asterisk at the end. And he didn't say why that is. He said, we don't tell you any more about that until the film comes out. So I don't know what that means. But we apparently got
naughty Kevin. Naughty.
I know. We got some footage from the Winter Soldier in which Captain America meets up with President Ross, aka Harrison Ford, and then Isaiah Bradley from Carl Lumbly, who was wonderful in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, tries to kill the president. And that's all we see. So I don't know, but apparently the footage was great. So that's really, it's not like that's the news coming out of this usually is just so-and-so showed this and it's awesome.
I think that it's such a wise little marketing move because this whole convention used to be called Show West.
Yes,
and
that's right.
It was a privately held conference, and there was no piece or part of it that really was for the general public's consumption at all. But now they've realized that the buzz coming out of these things can be ancillary marketing that happens for free. And so Disney, Marvel has been able to dominate a certain part of the news sphere and pop culture sphere by having released this footage from Deadpool and Wolverine, the news about Thunderbolts, and the footage from the new Captain America. That they get to make people talk about something at the same time they were doing what they were going to do anyway, which is show footage to exhibitors.
Yeah, so it's like you're exactly right. There's like the business end of it because they have to do this, but then you have literally what we're doing is we're talking about people talking about it. So like, Marvel led its presentation obviously with Deadpool, and Kevin Feige apparently got spicy and got a little R-rated during the presentation just to let people know that it is very much what's happening. Deadpool.
He said Deadpool has a nice bum, and everybody in the audience went, "Ooh, Kevin!"
No, apparently what he said is that the film will receive an intentionally gross popcorn bucket to rival the one from Dune Part 2, which I think if they seriously do that, that's perfect. That is perfect.
My question will be how. How?
I don't know. They literally like it is a effable bucket. It's an F-it. An F-it. Anyway, CinemaCon audience were treated to 9 minutes of Deadpool and Wolverine, which Feige called effing amazing. I have some spoilery things, but I won't read them. But if you do want to find out what was played at this, it's not much. I don't know what there's not much spoilers, but there's just a little more detail as to what potentially Deadpool is going to be doing in the film, and it does imply that there is going to be a lot of cameos.
Yep, I've watched some breakdowns of the footage. Of course, none of the footage itself, but people who were there or heard descriptions of it, breaking it down. EA Voss had a good one on the New Rockstars about it. I'm more and more excited for this movie about a character I really don't care about.
I know it's really. I don't know if it's just like Ryan Reynolds has gained a lot of. I don't know if you do watch Welcome to Wrexham.
No.
Such a wonderful show, but we've gotten to see a little. You learn more about Rob McElhenney, frankly, than you learn about Ryan. Deservedly so, because Ryan is an A-list movie star who's making movies all the time, and so Rob has a little bit more time to commit to the show. But you get to learn like a little more humanity to like a big giant movie star, and I think he's that character Deadpool, one that I think is good, but we've always commented on this show. It seems like it's written by like a 13-year-old at times. Like, what's the goofiest like swear words I can put together? And that's what it is. But both movies do have like genuinely funny stuff in it. I mean, the whole X-Force bit from Rob Delaney showing up in Deadpool 2 to him falling into a wood chipper, that whole sequence is fantastic. That's really, really quality stuff. And then, they really made me really, really, really want to see Deadpool 3.
Yeah, I'm very excited about. I mean, think about that little look at Beast that we got at the end of Marvels, and what all and getting into as well.
Oh good God!
We'll talk. Oh good God! We'll get into this a bit later, but it's also, it seems like peak goofiness in the same way that X-Men '97 is tapping into a certain like archness that's very comic book to me, and I think widening the scope out to introduce people more and more to what comic books look and feel like is really, I appreciate that. I hope it'll push more people back into the comic book shops.
Let's go, or to hoopla.com. We'll be
hoopla.com, your local library, to get some tasty trades, because here's the thing about your local library. Sometimes if
there's an R missing.
No, I got it at the end. Library. They will often have big collections of printed materials, like printed comic books, and they will have stuff that you won't be able to buy new anymore that's out of print.
Yep. If you don't know that you can check out comic books from your local library, I have several sitting in my desk in my other room. It's great.
Actually, can I? I'm sorry to interrupt you even further. I know that this is so in Los Angeles at the main branch library, but go to your local librarian and just ask what kind of stuff they have that's not books, because you can get camping equipment, you can get bike repair equipment, you can loan out a lot of different kinds of everyday stuff or emergency gear from your local library. They're really, really, really important resources for the community.
I love that. Yeah, and the dogs get it. The dogs know what's going on. This was announced. I did not know this was happening. I prefer truth berries over lie berries. Freddie Airmail is always just on point all the time. Something we've never talked about in terms of content, because I didn't know they were even doing this, but one of my personal favorite filmmakers is Edgar Wright. I love everything he touches. I loved Spaced. I love the Cornetto trilogy. I will just throw one of those on. Any of the three, whenever. I love Baby Driver. Even Last Night in Soho was good. A lot of people had a problem with that movie. I enjoyed that movie a lot. Apparently, he's doing a remake of The Running Man, the Arnold movie, based on the Stephen King novel. And he was announced this week that he just cast Glenn Powell as the lead. And this to me is very exciting. I think this is very, very exciting.
I had no idea about any of that until I saw it in Quick Hits.
Yeah, I had no idea. I just saw like The Running Man, Glenn Powell to star in Edgar Wright Stephen King adaptation. And let's see. For those of you who don't know what the Wright is producing the film, and I'm trying to get some more details here. This is what Edgar Wright says. He says, I liked the film, but I liked the book more. And they really didn't adapt the book. Even as a teenager, when I saw the Schwarzenegger film, I was like, oh, this isn't like the book at all. And I think nobody's done that book. So when that came up, I was thinking, and Simon Kinberg says, do you have any interest in The Running Man? I said, you know what? I've often thought that book is something crying out to be adapted. Now, that doesn't mean you're working on. Yes. This is just absolutely wonderful news. I think this is super fantastic. I love the filmmaker. Basically, The Running Man is, I don't know the Stephen King story, but I know that it's based on this idea that in the future, there's like a kind of game shows are life and death, and people get, as part of punishment, get put into these games and they have to fight their way out, and it's usually to the death. And it was starring great Schwarzenegger movie. I mean, the movie is wonderful in the 80s, but if they're saying Edgar Wright involved and somebody who is as charismatic and quite frankly gorgeous as Glenn Powell, well, yeah, let's do it.
Who's the Richard Dawson you get to be the smarmy game show host? Who's the new Richard Dawson you get to fill that like cultural position?
You ready for it?
Hit me.
I think he'd be a terrible actor, but Richard Dawson was God, he was so good in that movie. Ryan frickin' Seacrest.
Ooh.
Smarmy as all get down. God, Richard Dawson crushes that movie. So good.
Because he was a slime ball. He was like a real life
100%. Not even acting in that movie. Like I love how they even gave him, they posited a future world, but he still has like that long little mic that he likes with the long mic with the little tiny mic head at the top that you hold kind of like this.
I should get one of those. Do you think they make a USB one of those? A wand mic?
They frickin' better. A wand mic?
The old Bob Barker style, but like if you ever want to not sleep well at night, go YouTube compilation of what's his face kissing girls on Family Feud.
Richard Dawson. Oh,
Richard
disgusting.
Dawson. Just like any woman younger than 30 would get a special little wet peck on the cheek from old Richie D.
Disgusting. On the mouth with some of these people. It's disgusting. I think I've seen one of those where it's like, watch Richard Dawson give like hundreds of women herpes, and it's just like him mouth kissing them, like just awful stuff. You know he's British too, right? Do you know that? Richard Dawson? Yeah,
no joke.
It up. I'm pretty sure he is. This is just very exciting news. I think I love to see. Edgar Wright always is such a fun. Oh, Scott Pilgrim too, another amazing film of his. As I'm reading all the Scott Pilgrim's comics,
big snaps.
Somebody who just knows how to operate in this space in science fiction and future. It's just, I love to see what this is going to be. Probably won't see it until like 2026, but let's go. We're all talking about the good thing about CinemaCon is that you do get a lot of movie announcements. We have a lot of things that are teased out. One of the most famous runs of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle comics is the Last Ronin run. Are you familiar with that, Alex?
I've not read it, but I'm familiar with the storyline.
Yeah, I haven't read it either, but I'm also very familiar with it as well. Paramount announced they are going to make a live action R-rated version of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles The Last Ronin.
I can't wait to see late middle-aged Raphael hook up with his ex-wife. That's what I think is going to happen in this. Like it's going to happen. You're going to have a prolonged love scene between a late middle-aged Raphael and like April O'Neil's sister or her best friend who he was in an entanglement with. And that's what'll make it R. It won't be the action, it won't be gore. It'll be like a mature look at a failed relationship.
Full penetrative sex.
Yeah.
Oh, here's a synopsis for The Last Ronin. Who is the last Ronin? In a future battle-ravaged New York City, a lone surviving turtle, Raphael, embarks on a seemingly hopeless mission seeking justice for the family he lost. It's basically kind of like, the best way to describe it is like Punisher, but like in the post-apocalyptic, it's a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Punisher in like a post-apocalyptic New York. This is just like, who should direct this? Dennis Villanueva.
Darren Aronofsky. No, Danny Quesadillas, like you were saying.
Danny Quesadilla. Darren Aronofsky would be good too.
You should read about his Batman movie that he was in development on.
Is it better than his Noah's Ark movie that he made?
Now, I don't know. He said, hey, you know those Bible stories you like? What if we made it kind of like a weird sci-fi thing, huh? That's cool. I thought that was sort of interesting. But
Aronofsky.
yeah, what a troubled man. Anyway.
Truly. No, this is, let me see if I can get some more details. This is very like, I mean, whether or not this actually happens, there's a lot of things that are, I'm sure if you went through the percentages of things that were announced during CinemaCon and things that actually happened from CinemaCon, I bet the hit rate is probably in the 40s percentage wise. But this is, I mean, this is kind of wild to make an R-rated Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie.
Live action.
Yes. So we're going to see this turtle person so, I mean, Ronan is, I believe, lore from, but Ronan is because Hawkeye was Ronan at one point. Doesn't Ronan have to do something within Japanese culture? I'm not even going to go.
Yeah. A Ronin, I believe, is a samurai without a feudal lord to report to, nobody to kind of manage them. So they go, it's because the first people to come to Japan, they were asking, what's that guy doing over there? And the Japanese person said, oh, he's just Roman. And they were like, oh, Ronin? That's what they're called? Okay. And it's a whole misunderstanding.
That tracks. No, this is just very exciting stuff. I hope to see that this actually comes to fruition. Something else that was announced, this is the last thing we're going to hit on. Something that was also announced is Paramount officially announces not whether you want it or not, a live action G.I. Joe and Transformers crossover movie executive produced by Steven Spielberg. Now, we have said many times on this show how much the Transformers movies don't even get the needle going at all for us at all. But right. I don't know. There's a small part of me who was a child who took his allowance and rode his bike to KB Toys to buy G.I. Joes and Transformers, that when I saw this, I went, ooh.
It depends on the approach. The obvious sort of dumb guy action movie approach of a Michael Bay with Mark Wahlberg, sort of like, hey, save the world kind of thing. Like, if they can, we've talked about before when they take on some of these properties that rather than doing a literal filmic adaptation of the property, they sort of adapt how it feels to engage with that property. So like the Dungeons and Dragons movie feels like when you play rather than it trying to explain what Dungeons and Dragons is. If they can tap into a spirit of play, if they can tap into because I did think, is it going to be Michael Bay, literally 2 hours of Michael Bay with the action figures crashing them together. He's like, and then they kiss a little bit,
But then there's got to be a girl opening her head coming out of a car, and she sticks her head out while she's bending over because it's like boing, oing, oing. Because I'm 5.
Look at her bum.
Yeah, I definitely don't want the Allspark or any of the stupid stuff they've come up with over the years in these terrible Transformer movies. I don't know. I need to see who's involved. I need to see who's doing this. I literally have not seen any of the live action G.I. Joe movies. I heard the Snake Eyes one was okay, but I don't know.
I wasn't allowed to play with G.I. Joes at all. I wasn't allowed G.I. Joes. I wasn't allowed to have any toys that were military, soldier, if their main thing was having a gun that was a real life gun, I wasn't allowed to have it. But from the outside, G.I. Joe, all of them being basically their own little superhero, their visual gimmick was apparent the minute you looked. Oh, that one blows stuff up. That one's a water guy. That one has fires or whatever. I don't think they ever really got back to that when they presented G.I. Joe in these live action movies, except for Snake Eyes, who was in a cool costume. They got to just go for the silly of it. Like you said, when they do this Allspark stuff, it's an attempt to seriousize it or cinematize it.
We're talking about talking freaking robots. Yeah. we're talking about robots that transform into cars. We don't need to come up with some sort of dramatic effect. Just make it Googa and let it rip. Let it rip.
They come to this planet already calling themselves Autobots. Like, just be silly. Just be dumb. Have it be stupid. Don't make them look like dinosaurs and all craggly either. Just have them be the Fire Engine Red Optimus Prime with the big thing on his face. Roll out, like come on.
Yeah, just go for it. Said it in the 80s, you cowards.
Yes. Kenny, email somebody. Tell them.
Hey, Paramount. That's all we have for the quick hits. So we are on the Fan Controlled Sports Entertainment sorry, I got a very serious text about something. Anyway, we're on the Fan Controlled Sports Entertainment, Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, all the things. We're the entertainment in the Fan Controlled Sports Entertainment. We give a little bit of time to the sports. We give one piece of sports news. Alex, what's your sports news?
Well, of course, just want to showcase that famous murderer who also played football, O.J. Simpson, passed away in sports news. But
don't forget convicted memorabilia theft as well.
Yeah, it's found civilly liable for murder.
Not criminally, but civilly, yes.
Well, and you can blame the LAPD for that. But in actual sports news that's happening right now, Fernando Alonso, two-time former world F1 champion, has re-signed with Aston Martin for well into the new formula. He's going to be maintaining his relationship with the team and crucially with their new engine supplier, Honda, a dominant engine supplier who has now on their way to supplying a third back-to-back world championship winning car for Max Verstappen, or engine rather, for that Red Bull car. This is very interesting because the Aston Martin seat was one that people were thinking Carlos Sainz could go to. He's being replaced, of course, by Lewis Hamilton.
Of course.
And now Lewis Hamilton moving to Ferrari. Paddock watchers are thinking that Mercedes is signaling that they actually want to fill that empty seat with F2 phenom Kimi Antonelli, depending on how he does in that feeder series later on this season. Race watchers lament that Carlos Sainz may wind up with backmarker Haas as a placeholder for an eventual Audi drive once the new formula is in place. One thing's for sure, this silly season is sure to produce a lot of laughs. Back to you, Kenny.
We call it like F1 Guga, whatever the stuff you're talking about.
It's F1 Guga. Cool car, go fast.
Cool car, go fast. My sports news. I don't want to talk about the Lakers. They're just depressing me at the moment. I'm going to bring up. I keep talking about the United Football League. I'm shocked at how much I'm loving this. I'm loving this sport, even with a lot of the USFL teams that I don't really care for from the previous, and even the XFL teams. And there's no team west. I don't even know which team I'm supporting yet. There's no team west of the Mississippi. But I'm enjoying these games. But I want to talk about how there's a mini spring football leagues. Last week, I told you this, the St. Louis Battlehawks, KAKA, they set a record, an overall attendance record for any non-NFL professional football league of over 45,000 people watched the St. Louis Battlehawks take on I don't have it in front of me, I gotta go off straight memory, the San Antonio Brahmas. And the Battlehawks, no, they didn't take on the Brahmas. The Brahmas took on, I'll get there. Give me a second.
It was the Bangor, Maine Barrel Makers.
Nope, I'll get there. The Battlehawks, the Arlington Renegades got there.
Right.
And it was a wonderful game, and the Battlehawks pulled out a win for the hometown. You know what? Now that I'm saying it out loud, I don't know if they did. Let me confirm that.
There were probably Panthers games last season with less than 45,000 people at them.
Oh, it's truly, and you know what? And the league was smart about it because they put that game on ABC. So they put their big national audience game on ABC so that the people tuning in can see that oh wow, there's an absolute ton of people watching this. Yeah, the Battlehawks, that's right. Battlehawks won on a field goal. Great game. 27-24, great game. I'm loving the UFL. Alex, who is our sponsor for the week? I know you've just been really crushing it nonstop. I know that Uncle Rick Caruso, there's no holiday coming up, so we won't have him, but who's involved this week?
We've got a new entry in the Family Fun and Amusement Center category. That's Dr. Beep Boop's Family Fun Center. It's got amusement for all ages. Of course, it's over here on Fairfax. Dr. Beep Boop is a big dog man with a reflector and a lab coat that sings songs. He's great. And they've got classic games they want to showcase for you. Classic games like Skee Ball, Go-Kart, Kite Hunt, Bike Fight, Fart Shark, and Burger Time. Mini golf, frolf, and mini frolf, pole position, Adams Family Pinball, Hope and Crosby's Hostage Rescue, Super Minority Stomper, Capcom versus Minority Stomper 2, Aliens versus Predator, Aliens versus Terminator, Aliens versus Aerosmith, Aerosmith versus Aerosmith, and Red Hot Chili Peppers Eat the Wolfman. So that's Dr. Beep Boop's Family Fun Center. It's amusement for all ages. Come join the big dog man.
Holy cow, what a list of games. I don't know. You listed a lot of games there. That was very impressive.
Fart Shark is one of my all-time favorites.
Something versus Arrow. Who is versus Aerosmith?
Well, you have Aliens versus Aerosmith, and then the sequel Aerosmith versus Aerosmith.
Love it, an elevator indeed.
Yeah.
Alex, we made it to our main topic. We are talking about X-Men 97, episode 5. We very much will, specifically right now, and then I'm going to recap it for you, but then I don't think we'll ever forget what this episode does. Let's give a quick recap here. This episode was directed by Emi Yonemura, written, sorry, did I say directed? I said written. Yeah, all these episodes were written by Bo DeMeo. Cyclops and Jean have grown distant, unable to reconcile their separate lives. Worsening matters, she discovers he has been communicating telepathically with Madeline and begins to develop feelings for Wolverine. Hey-oh. Meanwhile, after Genosha is admitted into the UN, Magneto, Rogue, and Gambit head to the country, where Rogue and Gambit reunite with Madeline and Nightcrawler, while Magneto meets with the Genosian Council, who wish, this is a very long run-on sentence, Wikipedia, who wish to make him their leader. He agrees on the provision that Rogue serve alongside him. After telling Gambit about the plan and admitting to having previous history with Magneto, Rogue declines Magneto's proposal during the inauguration gala. Cable arrives to warn the X-Men of an impending attack, but is sent back to the future via Marty McFly. Amidst this, Madeline realizes Cable is an adult Nathan. Suddenly, a wild Sentinel appears and leads a group of Sentinels in attacking Genosha, seemingly killing Madeline, Magneto, and dozens of other mutants. Dozens is putting it very lightly. I think
it's just on screen.
Gambit sacrifices himself to destroy the wild. We should say, sorry, spoiler alert. Gambit sacrifices himself to destroy the wild Sentinel, leaving Rogue heartbroken. We should have said, spoiler alert, if you haven't watched the episode, spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. Alex, what'd you think of this episode of television?
Holy, all the stuff I can't say on Twitch. It strikes me that there was a very prolonged portion of this episode, probably like 90% of this episode, where there is literally no action. It's talking, it's emotions, it's story, and it works. It just flat out works. Like the things they are talking about and the stakes that are presented and the involvement that they've drawn you into with these characters all earns the ability to just sit there and watch these drawings talk to each other. It has the proper amount of gravity to it. There's lines like, broken men dance for your love that Gambit says to Rogue, like that is, it fits with everything. It fits with the guy who refers to himself in the third person by his code name and wears that trench coat and all the Guga. It's just amazing. And I really give it to them, the entire creative team, for really going for it. And specifically too, I think something that is easy to get lost in all of the, oh my God, Gambit's dead, the Watcher was there, all that stuff.
Wait, the Watcher? I didn't see that, but keep going.
Oh baby. They really hit on the head the minority allegory that X-Men represents.
My God.
And every single
show notes.
From Scott's outburst, it started with the Beast. The very first time you see him in the episode talking to that journalist on the news, and how he presents himself, it's so code switchy, so performative, so the kind of thing that people of a minority background sometimes feel like they have to do in order to not just pass, but present well enough to be kind of invisible, or not be held to the opinion everybody has about the rest of the people that in the group they belong to. He's wearing all his clothes. He's really pushing this thing. And then you wind up with like, yeah, all of that, and we've saved the world, and you're still going to ask us these dumb questions and push us around and be bigots, which is where you wind up with Scott. And that's all in a cartoon that's on Disney Plus.
You really hit the nail on the head there. As I was reading the recap of this episode, so much heady stuff, so much weighted character stuff, all the stuff with like Jean finding out that Scott is still connected to Madeline and talking to her, and like all that stuff is like super compelling. All the stuff with like Scott freaking out on the TV, being like all the stuff the Cyclops says, all that stuff, so much. And then you're right, they nailed all. There's so many like intentional cutaways as Genosha's being attacked, very clear intentional cutaways to characters of color, characters who are in same-sex relationships who are being attacked. Like, I mean, it is this show about just the goofiest stuff ever. Like, they're literally, and they brought it. Like when they go to Genosha, and like everyone jokes about how Jubilee is basically just Dazzler. Well, guess what? Dazzler was there in Genosha doing all the same stuff. So like, I just found this episode because I had heard people talking about it on threads and on social media about like, wow, oh my God. And then I was watching it and I was like, okay, I get there's like some stuff going on here, and like some of the stuff between, but even like the stuff with like Rogue and Gambit and like I Can't Touch You. Like what a compelling like plot device in terms of like a romance. Like, I love you. Every part of my body, every part of my soul knows that I want to be connected with you, but my physical body cannot express that. Because if I touch that, I will kill you. But the only person who can touch me, and guess what? I also had a relationship with him. And then she fully details it to him. I mean, like, there's so much going on in this little 35 minutes. Like, you think of like one of the biggest knocks on a lot of the Marvel and Star Wars Disney Plus TV content is their like timing. Like, they don't know how to make an episode of television. You know what I mean? Because a lot of them are usually just movies that are extended out, and a lot of these middle episodes of a lot of the series are like 27 minutes long or 38 minutes long, and they don't know how to like tell that tight story within that time frame. This show is just like a freaking masterclass.
Drum like, tight.
Just unbelievable. And then all that stuff, and then like an Avengers Infinity War level cataclysmic event in which one of the most iconic X-Men characters, Magneto, is murdered and is just dead. Like, there's no way he's alive. He is dead. Period. End of story.
Well, it's gravitic. It's very weighty. But not in a way that this falls in line completely with the old show. From a writing standpoint, dialogue, everything, it feels like the old show just now. And I don't know, it's so spiritually in touch with that. One thing that I did appreciate about the old show is like the writing and the stories that they chose to kind of take swings on. But they're pushing something else forward. I do think though that Cable being there and all of the coincidence stuff, and he says to her the same thing that she hears from like the smoke blob that she sees in a future vision or something like that. Like, he's gonna go back and reset things, and maybe Gambit won't be dead or Magneto won't be dead.
I see. Yeah,
but literally, like, there's a shot where it starts on like a kind of moonlit sky, and the camera pans down to the city. But as it pans down, the Watcher's face is there.
Oh my God, I gotta go back and watch that again. That's fantastic. Yeah. I love that the Watcher's there.
So it's like a Nexus-y event. There's going to be time travel stuff. There's going to be, it's a big important event.
It's just, this is just so wild. I mean, this show is hitting like, the only thing I can even kind of compare it to is like Godzilla -1, in that like there is no world where I thought I was going to come into this show. Thank you, Jess. Jess fixed the show name right there. X-Men ain't effing around. There's no going into this show that I think it was going to be anything what it is. I mean, there's just nothing, and it is like
100%.
We keep saying this with like the Bad Batch too. It just has no business being this good. Like a show that is basically like, hey, remember the X-Men from the 90s? We're going to do that again. That's the pitch on this. That's the elevator pitch on this. But the fact that it's like, oh yeah, while we're doing that, we're also going to make huge political statements. We're going to we're just going to murder a bunch of people. I have a list here of every death in the episode. We're going to just list these out. Because there are characters who showed up that I was like, I know you're somebody, but I don't know who you are, but I know Alex does. So,
Exodus, Callisto, Leech, Pixie. Yeah.
Yeah, I know you know the people. So like obviously, so Gambit died. That was at the end. Every time I see Gambit, I remember that they were going to do, and they never were able to get off the ground. They were going to do a Gambit movie with Channing Tatum, and
he was gunning for it hard.
How perfect of a casting choice that is. Like just how I would have loved to have seen a Gambit movie with Channing Tatum. He is I think he's a fantastic performer. Magneto, we said that. The Morlocks, which are a group of mutants under Magneto's care, they did not make it, which is like those people we kind of followed throughout the episode. That were kind of, there's like a green guy who like they're kind of kids. I don't know. They moved to Genosha after the events of the X-Men.
They used to live in the sewers under New York.
There you go. Callisto, he's a confirmed death. Callisto. She. Oh my, that's a she? Okay. Oh, I see. Yes, it is. Okay. I'm not familiar with the character. That's why I knew you. That's why I know you're here.
Denim vest, spiky hair.
These are these assumed deaths. Nightcrawler, although I thought I saw Nightcrawler moving, but it seemed like he was dead.
I thought they said he was just holding on. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Banshee, Moira McTaggart. That was the Scottish woman who was not a mutant. She definitely died. Sebastian Shaw. This is who I wanted to know. What is Sebastian Shaw? I know the character. It was killing me. I'm like, I know that's not Logan, but who the hell is that?
Sebastian Shaw is the head of the Hellfire Club, which is like an organization of evil mutants to which the White Queen Emma Frost belongs.
Yeah, because Emma Frost was there too. Yeah,
I think Kevin Bacon played him.
That's right.
First Class. I can't remember exactly what his power set is, but he's a big timer.
Let's see here. That's Sebastian Shaw's mutant. It says here. It says Sebastian Shaw was also shown to be lying on a stretcher. Blah blah blah. Shaw can take vast amounts of energy and convert it into physical strength. So he might not be dead, they're saying. You know who is dead, though? Dazzler. She's dead. Squid Boy. That's the only like confirmed that we saw on camera as being dead.
Did they get the Fonz? Arthur Fonzarelli, did he make it out?
No, he didn't make it.
Dang.
Oh, Jess says that he absorbs energy. He's telekinetic. Emma Frost is telekinetic too, but sure, she telepathic.
Telepathic, and she can turn her skin to diamond.
That's right. Emma Frost, notoriously played by January Jones, who is a universally terrible actor. In the X-Men First Class, she definitely goes for it. She definitely tries.
Seems cool.
She's yeah, but yeah, when they destroy. Bringing those two characters in, like you're right, like Sebastian Shaw and Emma Frost, when they introduced them, I was like, oh, we're just bringing in Nightcrawler coming in. These are big X-Men characters. They haven't been prolific on this show, but in the scope of the comics, these are huge characters that they just murdered immediately.
And crucially to me, as somebody who's been trying to catch up on these more recent phases of X-Men comic books through Hoopla, there's something that's been happening in the more recent lore that's called the Krakoa era. And in the X-Men universe, there's an island that's actually a living being with mutant powers. And lately all of the mutants have gone to Krakoa to live. That used to be Genosha, it used to kind of fill that role in X-Men lore, but now it's Krakoa. And it was the mutant homeland ruled by mutants, and crucially, it was ruled by a council of mutants, upon which Sebastian Shaw sat, Magneto, a couple of other people who show up on this ruling council in the cartoon, which is from a different era of the canon. I think they're mixing a couple of things together to get to this particular story point. That's just one more point that was kind of interesting to me, that they were integrating more recent developments and continuity to this 90s set storyline.
Yeah, this is, I could tell that like there was something to bringing these people into the show, because I was like, okay, I never thought that there was going to be a huge, actually once the Sentinel showed up, I was like, oh my gosh, people are going to die. But there was something to this idea that everything was so idyllic there. Everything was almost too perfect at Genosha, you know? And there's a constant thread throughout the X-Men series, throughout, frankly, the experience of a lot of people who are othered in this world, is that anytime you think you are on stable footing, the colors, the patriarchy, the man, however you want to call it, reminds you that you aren't. And that's the fact that it's like all manifested in this giant three-headed thing that can just destroy your sense of not just freedom, but like worth, and like that you matter, that somebody could take that. I mean, holy moly, what a show, man. Like, just truly, like, just what a show.
And presenting all this stuff in a really articulate way that's easy to grasp for anybody. I'm sure kids watching this can sort of get into some of those weightier themes. You know, it's presenting some big ideas in a really cool way. And again, I have to go back to how big, bold, and weird and soap opera-y some of these things are, and how much that reflects the comics, how much that reflects especially the long swing of X-Men comics that are so, you know, full of romance and interconnected families and weirdness, even beyond the thematic elements.
Yeah, there are two moments in this episode that I was like, there's no reason why these things have to be happening the way they are, but they are because of both because of who the people are and their power set, but also just because of this world that we're operating in this 90s cartoon. The fact that like that whole conversation between Jean, where she's like, I'm trying to connect to my memories. She's doing that while she's like making room for herself by like telekinetically moving water, and like in kind of like a water. There's no reason why she can't just be like outside. Like put that there is just kind of like, one, a flex is like, we can do this. But two, I also think it's just like understanding where they can put this show and what they can do with this stuff. They can make it super, it can be really dumb very easily. And then the whole like dance in the skies with Magneto moment is at times kind of like beautiful, and then but it also just like ridiculous, like totally ridiculous. That like this is what we're doing, but it all just freaking works, man, because of the characters, because of the effort, because of the intent, because of the skill, the storytelling. I mean, this is just like, it's crazy because this guy Bo DeMeo, who's the EP on the show, he's already left. Like he's already left the show. Fired, which is so wild to me because he's clearly doing a great job and he's probably going to get a lot of work from this. So good for him.
Well, I think they already have season 2 done. His whole thing was based on a 2-season arc. So that's already like locked and either done, or we have another season of his quality of work for yet to go with these characters.
I really got to go back and see this part with the Watcher. That's really piqued my interest very much so. Trying to think with the right notes here. This is a good. So since we've done, like you mentioned, this Cable thing, Does this? People are asking what happened to this league. It's still happening, man. Go to download the Control app. It's Fan Controlled Sports and Entertainment is the name of the Twitch stream. This is the entertainment portion. We're entertaining you. I hope. I mean, if
you are
not,
no. Make no mistake. They are being entertained, Kenny.
100%. Leagues are happening. There's a Fan Controlled Racing is happening. Yep, that's the website. Fan Controlled Racing is happening like next weekend. Like it's happening, y'all. Stuff is happening. Don't worry. Anyway, this you mentioned cable. There might be some sort of like time heist that's going to happen. That's going to reverse all this. Maybe, who knows? Maybe everybody stays dead. Maybe they reverse it so back all the way so that Professor X comes back. I don't know. But I wrote in the show notes, does this feel like a bigger plan here? Like this show that didn't ever feel like it would have to have some sort of big plan. It's starting to feel more and more like it has like an agenda, right? Like there's something that this is building us to that this show we never thought would have any business trying to do.
Yeah, I think I don't know what it is, but the amount of giant, like just big, like I said, big swings that they've taken with stories that are pulled right out of the comics. You know, they really have never shied away with this series to embrace things like, you know, the conflict with the Shi'ar, Dark Phoenix, Apocalypse, all these huge things. And I really have to go back and look at any of the what's left from comic books that's not been explored. But I think Apocalypse is coming. Maybe this is like Executioner's Song or Executioner's Saga that they're adapting. I really don't know.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, there is an arc that takes place on Genosha that's kind of like this, but it doesn't have anything to do with time travel at all.
So I think it's that's everything you're saying is like, again, spot on. I love that we're operating in the world of X-Men, because I know in terms of Marvel, like X-Men is your wheelhouse. There is, what was I gonna say? I lost it. I lost my train of thought.
Toot toot.
Hold on, let me log it on my robot device. Brain fog. Boop boop boop. I don't know what I was going to say. What were you tell me what you were saying, and then maybe it'll come back again.
I was talking about, you know how the X-Men were in it? That
yeah.
When they're in it, that's when it's like that's when I really liked it.
Great. It'll come back to me at some point. It's
adapting like a larger plan, adapting big stories. I don't know what is next. I mean, you know, EA Voss has posited that like maybe Cassandra Nova is coming, and she's definitely not a 90s character. She comes around like 2000s, maybe 2010. Maybe a little before that, Professor X's twin sister, who he beats in a psychic battle in the womb. Very cool.
What?
You heard me, buddy. I did not make that up. Yeah,
a psychic battle in the womb.
Oh,
that's
yeah,
next level.
Yeah, Frank quietly draws it in one of her origin stories, I think, and it's pretty cool to see a fetus using a mind bolt on another fetus, like something in all my years of comic collecting that I cherish in my head.
As you should. I'm just looking at like this show to see where like this show is currently at 98% on Rotten Tomatoes. All right. Critics' consensus is pulling off the extraordinary feat of staying true to its beloved predecessor while charting a path forward for the franchise. That's kind of what I wanted to talk about. Like, this is something that was pitched as a kind of a gimmick, you know, but now it's the kind of thing where this could legitimately be like a franchise that could then branch out. Or are they going to loop this in? You mentioned that the Watcher is there. Now I know what I wanted to say. I got that there. We don't know who's behind the Sentinels, because the person who invented the Sentinels, they confirmed in the very first episode of this series, he's not alive. So we don't know who's even behind this thing.
Cable pops in, says he's coming, and then the Master Mold is there. But so in comics, that Master Mold attack on Genosha is perpetrated by Cassandra Nova. So maybe it could be two threats. It could be Apocalypse and Cassandra Nova. I mean, who knows? Maybe it's Batman.
What if Batman came into the Marvel Cinematic Universe and it was played by George Clooney?
Yeah.
And it had nipples on his suit.
Nipple Batman. Deal with that, Sebastian Shaw. What are you gonna do with that? You turn into Crystal, White Queen? How's that gonna fight off nipples?
So do you think that these people are actually dead, or do you think there is going to be some sort of time heist that's going to bring, because like prior to you saying it, I thought they were going to be dead, but now that you mentioned Cable and that whole piece of the fact that he did show up and then went back to the future and blah blah blah, is that where we're headed? Is it to a time heist?
I think there'll be some time elements, some like replacey kind of time elements that, that's or not. I don't know that both Gambit and Magneto can both be permanently dead.
I don't think Magneto can permanently dead. I think you can if Gambit. Well, here's the thing, like in terms of drama, like what would be the more compelling drama if we're trying to create some sort of like love triangle between Rogue, Gambit, and Magneto? Who coming back would be the more compelling story? What would be more dramatic? I think based on that, it would be Gambit.
I mean, Gambit coming back is like, oh, great, my lost love, who now are back to the status quo of not being able to touch one another. So that has dramatic underpinning to it. But, Magneto coming back and, okay, great, we're romantic. We can be in contact with each other, but he is somebody who's whims and methods go against mine sometimes, and so like it will the friction there could add to drama.
You don't want to get behind a Magneto whim.
No. You just go whatever you say, sir. What were you blasting apart? I'd like to help.
Hey, if you whatever you're doing, if you need some help, I'll do it. Oh my
I like when they call him Magnus.
Yeah, what is this? It's Eric what?
Eric Lensher.
Did you notice too that when he had some sort of like flashbacky moment, when the attack was happening, he flashed back to the Holocaust. Did you notice that?
Well, canonically, Magneto's a Holocaust survivor.
Yes, I did know that, which I think that's fascinating that they're doing, because they can do that in the 90s too. Because if you're a Holocaust survivor in 2024, you're in your 90s, if not closer to like. But in the 90s, in 97.
But
someone his age could be a Holocaust survivor.
In keeping with standards and practices of the broadcast cartoon of the 90s, there's kind of more Nazi coded than it is actual references to like the real world and Germany. And I mean, they had their meeting in Germany, but like that he was in a German concentration camp or any of those things. Like, it's just, he says like my family was treated to violence because of a different god. And that's all they've really ever said in the cartoon about Magneto.
Yeah, I just found it incredibly compelling to see when the Sentinels are coming. He flashes back to, like, that's his first thing that he latches onto is fascism, is erasure just for who you are, for who you outwardly are, not for who you inwardly are. Like, all that stuff is just... we go back to this a lot too. This X-Men show is bringing up a lot of feelings in a lot of butthurt dudes who think that it's too woke or yada yada. But like, this stuff has been in this. It's like inherent to this story. Whatever you want to label as woke, it is what it is.
I in the same way that like, the X-Men as a phenomenon in culture, when they're created, they're a response to the civil rights struggle. They're a direct, in a way, the X-Men show up as to defeat this, the problems we're having with civil rights, as a direct reflection of that struggle.
If you're making white people will pay attention to it.
just you just allegory it. You just say, hey,
of course.
they hate
totally.
and fear us for who we are. And I think that the X-Men are showing up again in this way, becoming prevalent in pop culture by sticking to their roots. And I think they've showed up again at an opportune moment in the course of culture, history, the struggles between people, like you said, people who are othered. I think that the X-Men's prevalence now is I don't know, it's in a way that it is an omen, it is ominous.
Ooh, look at you. In a way that it's an omen, it is ominous. Well done. That's some real happy wordplay, guy.
I have to unbutton another button on my shirt for the day.
You should.
Union
rules. Jess says that his name actually is Max. Magnus was an alias. Eric Lenscher was also an alias.
Oh.
So Jess knowing more about X-Men than you, Alex, that's impressive.
Thank God. If I can take off as many crowns as I can take off and hand to other people, I absolutely will.
Freddie Airmail says, an ominous omen. Oh, man. Well done.
As long as it doesn't happen in Oman.
Hey-oh. Yeah, put that up there. Hey-oh. Fantastic. Where are we now, time-wise? Okay, great. Yeah, let's do this. Winners and losers. No, let's do Star Wars. Is this Star Wars or Star Trek?
This is Star Trek. This is very Star Trek-y.
Yeah, man. I don't know. It's definitely not Star Wars, but I don't like I cannot see Star Trek. I could see Star Trek doing the soap opera-y stuff of this, but the last 10 minutes of this, I don't know what this is. The last 10 minutes of this is strictly Marvel, man. This is Marvel. Only one other piece of content that I know of that is just brutally removed a bunch of characters in one fell swoop is Avengers Infinity War.
Right. It's the mighty Marvel machine, and that's enough said.
Which is arguably Infinity War is arguably, I don't know which one you would think was better between the two films. Endgame to me isn't really even a movie. Endgame is like an event. And Infinity War is like a movie. It might be the best. It's the best Avengers movie, I think, for sure.
It is. Yeah, it definitely is. Endgame to me is like the after party or something. It's like the reception. You went to the wedding, Infinity War is the wedding. It was all the official stuff. And now we're just going to have fun.
Endgame is the hangover, literally. Like they wake up and they're like, "Oh, everyone's missing. We got to go get Doug back."
Yeah. I thought you meant in the sense that I cried a lot and ate soup.
Both. Yeah. Who's the big winner? I feel like I know who's the big winner, but who's the big winner?
You know what? I'm gonna say that the X-Men as like a franchise, what it is supposed to be and represent, it's not just Wolverine and Deadpool. It's like a crucial kind of, it's one of the more important things comics has done, I think, to create that team at that time.
That's a good point. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I just think that, again, coming around at this time, making these big statements, doing it with such articulation, aplomb, and style. Just the X-Men as a franchise being able to buoy this kind of a project, they're the big winner to me.
That's a really great point. Before I say my winner, it made me think of something that this show does really well. Is that it's a reminder of how deep this well of characters is. Like we went to an island full of mutants. Like it doesn't matter if we've killed off if Gambit and Magneto and all these people stay dead. Don't worry, there's still thousands more characters that we can pull from. I think you're right. I think there is going to be some sort of Infinity War type event that's going to Endgame. Oh boy. Somebody's taking an acid, but I can't.
Put that in your machine. Make sure you tell your machine about that.
I just logged it. Yep. There's something to the fact that they are just constantly showing you, hey, don't worry, we got plenty of people we can pull from. This X-Men property is huge. This is like, there's a reason why Fox held on to this for so long, because there's so much you can do, and don't worry, it's in good hands now. Disney, wink, wink.
Well, to go sort of aside as well, something that I always liked about the X-Men show is that the world that those X-Men existed in was so big that, like, you got the sense, there was a whole other team of X-Men that included like Angel and Iceman that don't ever really show up, and they're kind of in and out. That Nightcrawler was a cameo, that Captain America shows up, that the other Marvel heroes are around, because literally every other piece of superhero content that was contemporary to it at the time was so precious. It would be like the Batman movie, just Batman would be in it. There's like, you're not even getting a Robin. And certainly no references to other worlds and heroes or whatever, but that X-Men was the cartoon was just like the comics. It was just, it existed in the same world as everybody else in Marvel. And I appreciate that about them deploying that in this updated series.
Something just hit me. Okay. So we got to bring in the Fantastic Four, and we got to show the reason why they weren't there. And Eric Voss already pointed April 4th, 4/4 day that came out, that there was some buildings in the background that further reiterated that we are in a different alternative universe's 1960s. So, or it's like it's like The Incredibles, it's like a present day, but it's like the present day is 1960s. And we're going to be bringing the Fantastic Four in from an alternative universe. The X-Men have to do the same thing. We can't just have the X-Men existing in Earth 616, because it's that question that came up with the Eternals. Is it was like, well, why weren't you here when Thanos was here? So they have to have not been there. So the fact that we think that the Watcher is there watching, and we also learned that Jeffrey Wright is going to be appearing in the Fantastic Four as a live action version of the Watcher. This show could be backhandedly setting the X-Men up to come into the MCU. I mean, holy cow. Wow.
I agree. And the implications are really exciting to me. And I do really feel like this, I don't know if it was intentional or if it's something they're kind of leveraging now, but it really does feel like this was supposed to be the soft launch for X-Men broadly, like reintroducing.
Oh, absolutely.
Because like on the comics side, at some point this year, they're relaunching the entire X-Men universe. That whole Krakoa era that I was talking about is ended, and the new status quo for who the X-Men are, what they do, and what comic books represent that entire line is being reshuffled and rebooted right now as we speak. And I think it's all to support the eventual like real launch of the X-Men, which is back into the MCU.
Woo, exciting stuff. So I think based on that, my big winner is us. I'm going to take yours. That's a big winner.
Hell yeah, dude.
All of us, man. And we're really hitting that hard. Big loser here. We were at a freaking island. We were at a body of water, a body of land surrounded by water. And we flew over it. And there's no reason why we're flying over that land that we can't just get a little boat and a little toot toot. Sam's Shrimping Boat. Put it in there. I'm also very pissed that we didn't get any of I read about the Captain America 4 footage. There was also no mention of the boat. And if there's no boat in that damn movie, woof, riots.
I'm going to burn down the AMC.
Done. Hey, get ready, AMC at the Grove. Get ready. Uncle Rick better be ready. Uncle Rick Caruso.
I'm coming for you, Uncle Rick. Talk to Bobby I and talk to Kevin and tell him we need that shrimping boat, or the Grove is going to be short an AMC.
That's true. All right, we gotta speed up here. Another ad read. Yes.
Yes, we Dr. Beep Boop's Family Fun Center. He's a big dog man with a reflector and a lab coat, and he's the star of his own animatronic show.
Oh,
yeah, it's a stage show. He sings songs. He's joined by Chick D, who's a bird in a nurse outfit, fellow Dr. Roger Ribbits, who's a frog, and Scott, who runs the front office and is a passive-aggressive man in a polo shirt who loves microwaved fish. So they've got a review, an animatronic review there at the Family Fun Center. You got to check them out.
I will definitely check them out. You know what time it is now, though?
Oh, I do. Oh. It is. Yes.
And it's your turn. Here we go. Game time.
That's how you start your weekend.
That is, I had such levels of speeds that were playing in my ear during that. It was insane. All right, what's the game?
The game is called Scooby Doo That to Me One More Time, the ultimate Scooby-Doo cameo trivia game. So I'm going to read off the name of a person, and you're going to tell me whether or not they have featured as a cameo in a Scooby-Doo property. Are you ready?
Got it. Let's go.
The Harlem Globetrotters.
Oh, yes. I've watched those many times. Yes.
J.C. Chazet.
No.
Yes, he has.
Whoa.
Henry Kissinger.
No.
Trick question. He did appear, but he was on the show playing terrified carnival owner Cornwallis Bramble. Now, did Dick Van Dyke appear?
Yes.
Right. Simon Cowell?
Sure.
Yes, because there is no God. Carmen Electra.
She's in the movie, right? Yes.
Yes, yeah. Sandy Duncan.
Yes.
And finally, Sandy Duncan's glass eye.
Rest in peace, Sandy Duncan. Glass eye. I'm gonna say no.
That's correct, because she actually never had a glass eye. She was just blind in one eye. And that is Scooby Doo That to Me One More Time, the ultimate Scooby-Doo trivia game.
That truly was the ultimate trivia game. That was fantastic.
Wait, actually, the last one, actually the last cameo, Kenny Stevenson.
No.
That's true. Is another trick question. You were in the show, but you were playing Fred for 2 seasons of the new Scooby-Doo and Captain Caveman show in 1989. And that was Scooby Doo That to Me One More Time. Thank you very much.
I'd love to see some checks for that, because I have not seen a single dime for any of that.
It's all AI now. It's all AI now.
It's all AI now. All right. This is the time. We mentioned very briefly Hoopla Digital. Go to Hoopla Digital. It's on your phone or your iPad. You can use your library card to check out digital comics. We give you recommendations every week. Alex, what is your recommendation for the folks?
Gobble up any X-Men titles you can that have the name Claremont on them. Chris Claremont is one of like the main architects of the important pieces of the X-Men universe. John Byrne, another great name. Joss Whedon, not a great name. Good series, but don't read his stuff. But yeah, because the X-Men are great.
They are great. We've learned that a lot over the past couple of weeks watching X-Men 97. My recommendation, I've mentioned before how there is now a manga library on the Sony lot. And so I've been digging through some manga. I read One Punch Man. I loved it. From the of One Punch Man is a manga that I just started reading called Mob Psycho 100. Yeah. It is a very funny, it's even very hard to explain. It's basically about an obscure 8th grader who has powers, kind of unknown powers, but he knows how to use them, who is an assistant to a man who performs exorcisms. So there is like goofy exorcism stuff, which usually is just the guy, people coming to him saying they need an exorcism, and then he just talks them out of it. But then this other guy, this kid actually has powers, but all he really wants to do is look good so he can impress a girl at school. It's really well written. The illustrations are weird. It's just really fun manga, but super funny, and I'm really like excited. An anime does exist for it. I'm gonna try to watch that because I'm into it. Do we have another ad read from
Dr. Beep Boop's Family Fun Center? Dr. Beep Boop's Family Fun Center. They want to say the family fun maze has been fully fumigated, and the mold has been all but eliminated from most of the labyrinth, contained mostly to a far corner where it must be fed a vacuum cleaner every 90 minutes. We don't know what will happen if we don't feed the vacuum cleaner to the mold, but the mold has assured Dr. Beep Boop that the consequences will never be the same. So that's Dr. Beep Boop's Family Fun Center, an amusement center for all ages.
I'm glad they got most of the mold out.
Yeah.
BC Lion says, the Effin Canadian says hello. Hey, BC Lion. Training camp's less than a month away. Let's get hype, baby. BC Lions. We got William Stanback from the Montreal Alouettes this year, even though he was a running back 3 years ago. We'll see if he's any good still.
How about Kyle McIntyre and Gavin Romero? I just made those guys up.
I know you did. Of course you did. Alex, what did your dogs think of X-Men 97?
Once again, very happy to have me home, that I didn't have to wander out, go cowboy hip hop to go see a movie down at the Grove.
Cowboy Bebop hip hop nonstop.
Hip hop ding dong.
Yeah, my dog stayed in the other room. She wanted no part of this, but I think it's because she was very sensitive to the fact that there was going to be. She knew, dogs know when death is coming. I think she knew, so that's why she was like, I got to get out of here. Alex, speaking of getting out of here, I really got to get out of here.
You got to leave, bud.
Where can the folks find you?
Duke_Midnight, Threads, Instagram, wherever major magazines are sold, TikTok.
At Kenny G. Stevenson on Twitch and TikTok, Kenny G. Donut King on Threads. You got one more show. Did you just do it yesterday?
No, I just did it yesterday. It's done, but we'll tell you about it.
No more shows. I'm going to have some shows coming up soon, but we have a show here next week where we're probably talking about X-Men, I would have to assume.
We're going to have the result of your Bravo test, and we're going to talk about it.
That's
talk my fingerprint.
I am a robot. I am a robot. All right. Hey, have a great weekend, BC Lions. Have a great weekend, everybody. Stay dry if you're in Los Angeles.
Take it easy or
Bye-bye.
sleazy.
Or sleazy. Okay, bye.